Cheat Code, Support Strategist, written by Clouds, read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 15, Petty. Izuku frowned in frustration as he turned off his computer and gathered his things in preparation to go to their core classes. He'd spent most of the afternoon watching Class 1A through the cameras as they did some sort of indoor combat exercise that All Might had put together, and it was frustrating. Don't get him wrong, it was amazing to see all of the students' amazing quirks in action. It was just so frustrating to see them acting so far beneath their potential. Like that kid with the electricity quirk who fried his brain within seconds of the exercise starting. Or the kid with the hot and cold quirk who didn't even use his heated side until the exercise was already over. They could do so much more. They could save so many people if they could just think a little more creatively. And then there was Katsuki. He had everything. He had an amazing quirk, good battle sense, and even some of the techniques Izuku had suggested before Katsuki had started bullying him. He really did have the potential to be an amazing hero, maybe even the best, if he wasn't so violent. He hardly noticed May start rambling to him as soon as he sat down in the desk outside of his workroom to wait for the teacher to arrive until she slammed her hand down and leaned down until she was nose to nose with him. Okay, what's up? Izuku leaned back slightly and stuttered, what? May rolled her eyes and leaned forward even more so that Izuku was forced to lean all the way back in his seat until his head was touching the wall behind him. You're dragging your feet. Didn't you get to watch the hero course fight today? I wasn't even expecting to be able to get a word in edgewise, but here you are, giving one-word answers. Oh, Izuku shrugged. It's just I was observing my bully's class today. Instantly, May looked murderous. I can't believe they let that a-hole in after what he did to you. And didn't he try to attack Extra Credit Kun during the exam? I should go straight to Nedzu and tell him that he needs to expel that jerk immediately. Izuku interrupted her with a sigh. You can't do that, May. First of all, my teachers purposely never reported the bullying, so there wouldn't be red flags when he applied to UA. Second of all, he didn't attack Shinso. Even if he had actually hurt him, it would have just been as collateral damage, or in retribution for yelling at him. Last of all, he probably shouldn't be expelled. And why not? May's yell caught the attention of the rest of the class. He is a bully, Izuku. He made you miserable for years. He shouldn't be a hero. Wait, what are we talking about? Kohaku interrupted, pulling off the scarf she used to cover her hair while inventing. What's this about a bully being a hero? Nothing, Izuku said quickly. May shot him a glare before turning to the rest of the class. The traitor. Izuku's old bully somehow got into the hero course. He was part of the class Izuku was observing today. What? Hanzu bared his teeth, his normal wide smile becoming sharp and intimidating. What's his name? I just want to talk. Everybody stop, Izuku said sternly. Nobody is going to do anything. Nobody's going to try and fight him, and nobody's going to Nedzu. Understood? May didn't drop her glare. But no. Izuku held her gaze. So what'd he do today that put you in such a funk? Kohaku said. Like, I was expecting to have to tell you to shut up at least 3 times. See? May gestured broadly to her. I'm not the only one who noticed. Izuku shot her a look. It's nothing. Yeah, no, dude. Hanzu said with a small smile. We're not buying that. Izuku looked around the room, hoping for someone to be on his side, but even Shigeru shrugged. If it was really nothing, you probably wouldn't be so insistent. Izuku sighed. He should have expected that his classmates would be at least as curious as he was, especially after meeting May. This was what he got for joining the support course. It was just annoying. There was an odd number of students. Something about a student leaving because of Eraserhead's hazing yesterday. So he's put by himself against two other students. One with a speed quirk and the other with gravity negation. Heh, Kohaku chuckled. Shouldn't that be a good thing? I bet he got his ass handed to him, didn't he? Izuku shook his head. He put them both in the infirmary. Like, I know that violence is an inherent part of the hero industry. You can't defeat villains without hurting them. But none of the other students were injured badly enough to have to get medical attention. One of the signs of an amazing hero is actually how much they're able to avoid harm. He shook his head. I'm probably just being nitpicky because of our history. Probably. Hanzu agreed, but that still doesn't mean he should be in the hero course if he bullied you, dude. What's to stop him from going totally crazy and hurting someone who's not a villain? Shiguro nodded in agreement. I wouldn't want any of my old bullies to be heroes either. Yeah. May crossed her arms in front of her chest. So I'm going to Netsu and telling him to kick this guy out. That rat loves you enough to give you a whole room. I'm sure he'd be happy to expel him for you. Izuku wasn't so sure, but surprisingly he realized that it might not be outside of the realm of possibility. It was so surreal to have adults who actually cared. And if that was all there was to it, then Izuku might actually be tempted to go to Netsu himself, seeing as he most likely wouldn't get punished for snitching. But the situation was a little more complicated than that. It's not that I want Katsuki to be a hero so much that I don't want him to be a villain. Does that make sense? He's a bully, Izuku. May protested. He's already a villain in my book. Izuku looked around and saw his classmates looking confused and still angry on his behalf, but didn't see any of the understanding he'd been expecting. He sighed. He has the potential to be a decent hero, and his violent tendencies will be directed toward villains. But if he gets expelled, or worse, blacklisted, what'll he do? At least as a hero, his violent tendencies will be directed toward villains and people who deserve it, rather than any civilian who looks at him wrong. Still doesn't mean he deserves to be a hero, May grumbled. Izuku shrugged. Maybe not. But it isn't even a big deal. It's not like I'm going to see him a lot. We're in different departments, and I'm going to start arriving early, so I won't even see him on my way to school. The only interaction I'll even have with him will be my analysis project that he won't even read anyway. So just drop it. His classmates didn't necessarily seem happy with his explanation, but at least they saw the logic in it. Izuku supposed that was about as good as he could hope for. Everyone here was extremely intelligent. They wouldn't have gotten in otherwise. But nerds often weren't treated the best. Add to that Hanzu's mutation quirk, Shigeru's shyness, and May being, well, May. And there was a good chance that every single one of his classmates had been bullied at some point in their lives. Of course they wouldn't be happy about letting a bully off the hook. There's gotta be a way to get some sort of revenge at least, right? Hanzu said after a long minute. I mean, we can't just let that dude get off scot-free. May's eyes lit up, so Izuku interrupted. That's really not necessary, guys. No, Kohaku grinned, but it'll be fun. May grinned in return. Ooh, I like you. Come on, Izuku. Revenge. We're the support course. We have access to all his babies. Izuku rolled his eyes. As fun as that would be, he's still a hero student. And it's our responsibility as support students to support him, not sabotage him. Not to mention that faulty support gear could potentially endanger not only him, but also his classmates and eventually civilians. So revenge is out of the question. Kohaku thought for a long moment. What about just being a little petty? Izuku looked at her curiously, which she took as permission to continue. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't do anything to put him in danger or anything. That would be stupid. But you know how annoying a tiny little rock can be when it's in your shoe? May's eyes lit up again. You're suggesting we do a bunch of tiny things to annoy him? Kohaku nodded, grinning. It's how I got rid of my bullies back in elementary school before everyone learned not to mess with me. The big thing is plausible deniability. Don't do anything that you couldn't talk your way out of if the teachers ask. But we'll know, which will be really satisfying if he gets a shirt that's, say, half a size too small and the slightly wrong shade. Izuku thought about that for a minute. He had to admit that it might be fun, provided that no actual harm was being done, since he didn't want to become a bully in return or put Katsuki in any danger. And if he could stop at any time, I suppose it wouldn't be too bad to get a little payback. Yes! May pumped her fist and hugged him, causing him to turn bright red as the rest of the class laughed at him. Oh, we're going to have so much fun. I'm going to make so many little nuisance babies. Someone clearing their throat behind them made the class freeze, and they turned around to see Midnight standing in the doorway, looking like she'd just arrived. You're not being naughty, are you? Izuku and May shared a panicked glance before he sat up straight and gave a bright smile. No, ma'am, or at least I wasn't. I'm already in my seat. Everyone else, however, the class rushed to find their seats as Midnight laughed at their reactions. Izuku smiled and took out a new notebook, simply labeling it Nuisance. He'd known this year was going to be fun. End of chapter.